Greetings. Welcome to my weekend market recap 27th August 2022. I am Sagar Nandi, retired IT professional swing trading stocks using the Q systems and techniques that I develop. You may contact me using my email ID info@superiorprofit.co. I regularly share live market and stock analysis on my website superiorprofit.co, Twitter handle superiorprofit, and YouTube channel Trading Profitably. All these are open to the public and you are most welcome to make use of them. Disclaimer: this demonstration is for educational purposes only. I am not an investment advisor. It is not a trade recommendation. Trading involves risk. You and only you are solely responsible for the outcome of your trades. I may mention about options trading from time to time. You may refer to the characteristics and risks of standardized options document from Options Clearing Corporation to decide if option trading is suitable for you. I use the Q systems in my trading. Let's skip these slides. That was the last slide. Let's continue with a look at the live system. Global markets first. Australia's All Ordinaries. In the weekly, the All Ordinaries is bullish. This week's candle shape is bullish. Color is also bullish. If you followed my earlier webinars, the previous entry opportunity in All Ordinaries was at one of these bullish flow points that came after the bullish headwind. Remember this pattern because it may come in other instruments in coming days. After that, it didn't pull back all this way until here. It pulled back, came close to the yellow direction line, and then went up again. Traffic color switched to green on Thursday. So on Thursday, you could again look for buying opportunities in the Australian market. All Ordinaries itself did not give a buy setup on Thursday, but individual fundamentally strong stocks might have given buy setups. Which kind of buy setups? Probably pullback or flow trend following buy setups. All Ordinaries is bullish in an uptrend. Next, Japan Stopics Index. Topics Index is indecisive in weekly, both in shape and color, and also it has a bearish indecision dot. So I will not like to buy in the Topics Index right now. When was our last buy setup? If you remember, it broke out of a trendline resistance right on this candle, and I remember we had the market recap on that day, and I mentioned Topics was the only global index where I was willing to buy. That gave a profitable swing long trade. Then it pulled back, tried to go up, however closed Friday with a bearish shape candle, and the weekly is indecisive with a bearish indecision at the top. So I'll avoid buying. Instead, if the daily changes color to red in the coming week, Topics itself will not give a short setup, but individual fundamentally weak stocks may give short setup at that time. What is the trend now? Topics is still in an uptrend. What is my preferred trading direction? None. I will prefer to take short trade, but only if it can go down next week. Currently, I have no preferred trading direction. I'll wait. Next, China market, CSI 300 index. I'm doing this analysis live. I didn't prepare for it. So I take a few seconds to look at the charts to collect my thoughts. What are the weekly daily charts telling me for China market? Weekly is bearish. in color. Shape is indecisive, but color is bearish. Daily, Friday's color is bearish, shape is bearish in a clear downtrend. Therefore, I will avoid buying. In fact, on Friday, looking at the bearish shape candle, bearish color candle that tilted down from the memory trendline resistance. Looking at all those bearish signals in daily and the bearish color in weekly, you could look for short setups in individual fundamentally weak stocks. What is the direction for CSI 300? Is downtrending. What is my preferred trading direction? Also short. Next, India's Nifty 50. It was the strongest of the global markets in this period, and that strength is continuing. In daily, it is still in an uptrend. It has a trendline support. However, Thursday, Friday both has bearish color. Bearish color is there for the whole week, in fact, right from Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 5 days. We have bearish color. We have bearish shape also on Thursday, Friday, you may say. If this trend line support is broken, I'll be happy to look for short setups in the India market. Nifty 50 itself will not give a short setup because the weekly is indecisive both in color and shape. However, if the daily trend line support is broken, individual stocks will give short setup. What is the trend? Uptrend. What is my preferred trading direction? It's actually short side, provided I see this trend line support is broken next week, which is likely to happen because of the weak Friday's market in the USA. Lastly, UK's FTSE index. In a sideways move, both in weekly and daily, the range is created by trendline support resistance lines. And remember, when price came to this point 1 week ago, I mentioned because it was in a sideways range and at the upper edge of the range, our preferred trading direction is always short in those cases. So in FTSE, we are looking for short setups, and as it came down for the week, I'm sure individual fundamentally weak stocks gave profitable short trades. Now it is somewhere in the middle of the range, that is a no trading area. Q traders, including myself, we are prompt traders. We like to take the trade right at the swing high for short and swing low for long. In this case, we would have taken the short trade right at the swing high. We would not wait for Friday. Individual stocks may give short setup on Friday, but the market started giving indications to short right at the very top. And now let's look back. Let's look back several webinars. Remember, on this day we had a market recap, and in that recap itself I mentioned that though we had a bullish shape color candle on that day, looking at the series of bearish indecision one after another, I was going to pass this bullish candle. I was not willing to buy. And yes, after that price went up. However, it continued to give series of bearish indecision at the top. And I mentioned in the last webinar that I would happily pass these opportunities. And in a way that turned out to be useful unless you were very fast and exited with a profit. That decision not to take long trade in FTSE was useful because price has now pulled back below the close of this bullish shape candle. The more you observe this bearish indecision at the top or bullish indecision at the bottom, these signals, they will help you when not to take trades. Even if the market goes up, the bearish indecision will show that the up move is feeble and it's not the time to take long trades in this case. It would not be high probability trade. I looked back and explained how the indecision signal and Q systems can help you avoid some trades. What is the direction of FTSE now? Range bound. Preferred trade direction? None, because it is near the middle of the range. Slightly on the upper side, but still it has come down already. No trading direction. So global markets has a mixed picture, and global index as a whole, if you look at the 5 weekly candles, 5 days candles for the whole week, all of them are in red color. So color is bearish, however the shapes are indecisive. There is a trend line support right below Friday's low. That trend line support is holding for Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. For 4 days in a row, this trend line support held. That's the power of the memory trend lines, and because of that power, if it is broken, that will also be significant. Will I be able to short confidently if the first trend line support is broken? In this case, no, because the ascending yellow direction line is going to be very near, and right after that there is another trend line support. What does it mean? That means the global market as a whole is not allowing me to take short trades, because those will not be high probability short trades until and unless this last trend line support is broken. I may wait until then. On the other hand, if I remove the drawings and start drawing again, on the other hand, if price comes to this next trend line support and goes up from there, that will also mean that price is most likely going to regain the yellow direction line and white direction line both. If that happens, pulls back, then gives a bullish candle that is regaining both here white and yellow direction lines, I'll be very happy to take a long trade right on that day with stop just below this candle's low. If that happens, that's how I will anticipate a trade in the global market if I could trade this global index. What about USA market? And here also, for USA market also, let's look back. The more we look back and analyze how I looked at the market last week, the more you see the way the analysis is playing out, or in other words, how the analysis is helping us to protect our capital and make some profit when we have the opportunity. I very explicitly mentioned in the last webinar that I was not going to show any ticker with a bullish setup, because on that Friday the market was very bearish. I think, let's see my trade station. I saw a message that it was losing connection. Let's see if I can open SPY. Its connection is back. Let's look back. This was last Friday when we had the previous market recap. And on that day, I very clearly mentioned that I was not going to share any ticker with a long setup. I did tweet a number of charts with a breakout setup, but I didn't disclose the ticker because I saw Friday's market was very bearish, not only from this market ETF but from other Q angles, like from Q Finder technical breadth and Q Edge sector industry stock advisory. And now looking back, that was very useful. Not sharing and not tempting others or myself to take a long trade 1 week ago was very useful. What about this Friday? This is a very bearish day. Very, very, very bearish day. In fact, if you look back the entire length of the daily chart, this Friday's candle is the most bearish of all. And we'll later see that situation is not only true for SPY but for other market ETFs. Friday's market was very bearish, and notice this important signal. It was not only a bearish candle, it was a reversal candle. Reversal candles are even more ominous. In this case, ominous because it's a bearish reversal. And this reversal signal started flashing not near the close, long before the close, and that would be the time you could start to short stocks. If you look at the weekly daily now and apply the Q trade setup unambiguous checklist, you will find that daily weekly together they are confirming a bearish flow trend following short setup. Only hesitation may be that Friday's candle is too long. The stop will be far away if you shorted at the close on Friday. However, you would not need to do that. These Q systems are real time. You could identify the flow short setup well before market close. In fact, when it was flashing the reversal signal in the band indicators, I think it also flashed a flow setup in radar or sonar or finder. You could start shorting the market ETFs or probably some of the weaker fundamental stocks. Now also it is giving a short setup, except that the stop will be far away. And okay, sorry, let me go back. I want to point out one more thing. The last time we had so high bearish volume was when price dropped sharply for 1 2 3 4 5, about one week plus, 1.5 week. Price dropped sharply. Only that time we had so high bearish volume, and this is the first day such high bearish volume came in after a long time. And what happened during this intervening long period? Price went up, but you see none of the bullish volumes, the green color candles, had the dot. So price went up, actually price went up quite a lot, but none of the days during the up move we had very or extreme high volume in SPY. We had earlier very extreme high volume when price was dropping, and Friday we resumed that very high volume drop. That is also a bearish, an ominous sign, you may say. Not only bearish, it's clearly bearish, but the volume reversal, these signals are also more worrisome if you are still holding long positions. For record, I have 0 long positions right now. Okay, now QQQ. Once again, Q setups are unambiguous. If you applied it, you would find a flow short setup well before the market close. You would also find the bearish reversal, and you could confidently take a low risk short trade in QQQ. Same statement as in SPY, that at Friday's close the stop would be bit far away to my liking. And if you look back again, not look back and look at this, when price was going up, we didn't have a single bullish volume day with the dot. The dot indicates very or extreme high volume relative to recent volume pattern. We didn't have very high extreme volume dot in recent days and weeks. We had it on Friday, bearish. Another thing, look back. In fact, why not look back at SPY? I came back to SPY once more. Now look back and see how beautifully Q analysis is working out. I was starting to be bullish in this area. You may go back and look at the webinars. One reason was because after jump thrust low, we had big move up 3, jump thrust low at price extreme low, then big move up 3, bullish momentum. I started becoming bullish in this area. And right in this week, I remember, I actually explained also, I shorted QQQ, bearish side, because many of the market ETFs had this trend line resistance in weekly. These memory trend lines work beautifully. That helped me short right at the top. And now people are turning bearish, of course. Friday was very, but see how much more accurate I was once again at the short point at the top, and if you further look back at the long point, deciding the long point right at the bottom. I was able to do that because of the unambiguity of the Q systems. I don't look at too many signals telling the same thing. Every Q signal tells only one thing, and I don't look at just technical signals, technical, fundamental, industry sector, breadth, internal health, etc. Though those analysis, 360 degrees analysis, wasn't it beautiful? If you are trading actively, I think it was very beautiful that I not only shorted, I publicly declared that I shorted right at the top. And that trend line resistance, going back to QQQ, was there in QQQ also. Once again, I shorted, in fact, I shorted QQQ, that was the weakest looking at that time, as I mentioned before knowing the result. Now, of course, people are becoming bearish, but Q traders, including myself, were way ahead of others. Dia also gave a flow short setup. Again, the same comment that the stop would be very far away to my liking if one wanted to short at Friday's close. But we didn't have to short at Friday's close. If you were watching the market, there was a major event because the central bank head made a speech at Jackson Hole. There was some volatility around that, and after that market started dropping. When it displayed the reversal signal and it flashed the flow short setup at the same time in all the market ETFs, you could confidently start to short. And at that time, the stop would be much narrower than trying to short at the close on Friday. Now, Dia is looking even weaker. Not only does it have the bearish reversal, the bearish flow setup, it is also having big move down 3. The other two ETFs we saw did not have big move down 3, extreme bearish momentum. So Dia is also even more bearish, you may say. Not only bearish, more bearish than QQQ, more bearish than SPY. And small cap ETF IWM, this is actually looking the strongest. It was strongest for last couple of weeks, or last couple of, I think so, weeks. Not I think. It was stronger for last couple of weeks. Why I can say that confidently? Because you see this dashed line, the copper color zigzag line, overall it is going up. When it goes up on a chart, that instrument is stronger than the market. So of course, from the copper color relative performance slide, I can ascertain confidently IWM was stronger, and it is actually stronger on Friday also. You see, again the relative performance is tilted up. Yes, it had a bearish shape candle, bearish color candle in daily, but this is the only market ETF where the weekly is not magenta. Weekly is neutral. So it is weak, but not as weak as the other market ETFs. Also notice it does not have a bearish reversal signal. No bearish reversal signal, and especially the weekly candle color is not magenta. So if I wanted to short any of the market ETFs on Friday, my choice would be Dia or SPY or QQQ, not IWM. But all of them are weak. None of them are to be bought, of course. very clear short setup in 3 of the 4 market ETFs. What about the internals? Very weak, isn't it? We expect so. Let's look at that. Yes, on Friday we had a Phoenix signal. The Phoenix came after market recovered a little bit. This is USA market breadth total view, internal view of the market, not external future move or ETF move, the internally what is going on in the market, and that had a Phoenix at a swing high. So that was bearish, and more importantly than that, we have the maximum possible distribution count of 6. So there was broad and deep selling everywhere, everywhere. Once again, if you look back, why was I able to short at the very top around this time? Remember, I explained at that time we had the Bengo buy everything, even those not of value signal when market was overheated, seen by the percentage of stocks above 50 MA, seen by 3-month new high low. Then a Bengo came at the swing high, and I had other reasons to short, namely memory trendline resistance in multiple market ETFs, and I shorted right at that time. Those trades were very profitable. This is very bearish picture. Now let's look at growth versus value, small cap versus large cap. Small cap versus large cap, we have no preference now. It's flat. Zigzag movement is normal. It's flat, up, down, up, down. So small cap versus large cap, we have no preference. Growth versus value, now it has tilted down. It has made a lower low, lower high. So growth is now underperforming. It was moving sideways for a while. Now it has tilted down. So growth is underperforming. So we are bearish, very clear bearish signal all along so far. And it seems we may short or prefer to short. Probably we can short everything if the risk is small, stop is narrow, but we may prefer to short growth stocks because growth is underperforming, and we may avoid shorting small caps because small caps are relatively stronger. That is the market level view. Individual small cap stocks may give short setup, of course. Now let's look at the market from other angles. Q edge, very useful. Sector, industry, stock, advanced decline breadth, 1 month to 1 day. 1 month long term is still bullish. 10-day can also be considered long term, that is bearish already, very bearish in fact. Medium term this week, 5 days, very bearish. Short term, 1 day, 2 day, very bearish. This is bearish, there is no question. There is no opportunity to take any bullish trade. And remember again, last Friday I didn't share any long ticker, explicitly mentioned that I didn't want to share any long ticker because last Friday, not this Friday, the previous Friday also, the sector, industry, stock, advanced decline breadth was very bearish. The same is happening now. The difference is that the other periods have also turned bearish. Is it too bearish? That we can find out from the bucket analysis, the distribution of stocks around their Bollinger Bands. If too many stocks in terms of percentages are below lower Bollinger Band, we may be cautious about shorting. What is that percentage? 30 to 40%. Where is it now? The percentage of stocks below lower Bollinger Band for S&P 1500, it's only at 12.3%. So we have long way to go before we hit the oversold level in terms of this bucket analysis. Is it bearish? Yes, it's bearish in terms of bucket analysis because 77% of stocks are below mid Bollinger Band. The picture has reversed. And once you start using the Q systems, you look at the bucket analysis every day, look at the sector, industry, stock, advisory every day, you will be able to anticipate what is going to happen. Of course, you will not take a trade setup, trade based on that anticipation. We have very unambiguous trade setups on technical charts. We'll take those trade setups, but you can anticipate what is going to happen, get ready, decide whether you are going to use stocks or options, what kind of options, if options, what is the sizing, everything you can decide, get ready, and then use real-time charts to take a trade. Right now, everything is pointing to further bearish move. What about technical breadth? Is it oversold? Technical breadth is a unique feature of Q Finder. Let's look at the weekly picture first. Balance between bulls and bears using technical signals and setups. Very bearish. 92% of all signals, 99% of strength signals, 87% of trend continuation, even reversal 67%. Everything is bearish. There is no signal to be read from the headwinds in weekly interval. None of those percentages, bullish or bearish side, are more than 1%. Okay, so weekly period is bearish. How is daily period? Very bearish also. Friday, 97% of all signals, 89% of strength signals, 99% of trend continuation, 99% of reversal signals are bearish. That is very bearish. Is it oversold? We can answer that by looking at this percentage and this percentage. For oversold, we look at the bearish plot. Where are the bearish signals coming from? Most of them, 55% of the bearish signals are coming from middle price level. If so, it is not oversold yet. If most of these bearish signals were coming from red portion, that is at price extreme low, then we would conclude that technical breadth-wise it was oversold. But it is not so. Most of the bearish signals are still from price extreme middle. So we are not oversold. Now, just now remember how, let's say again how things are falling together. I mentioned this phrase last webinar also, I think, that how things are falling together when you look at the market using different Q systems. We saw other than IWM, the other three market ETFs displayed a reversal signal, and this is the largest percentage of reversal signals I have seen in a very long time across thousands of stocks. 39.8, almost 40% of my trading universe, all liquid stocks, 40% of stocks displayed a reversal signal on Friday. That is very bearish. Some of those reversal would have been breakdown short setup, 20% breakdown. Whenever I mentioned these thresholds, whenever this percentage is more than 10%, it is quite easy to find trades from that category. So you could easily find short setups from the reversal category. You could find them from breakdown or breakout short candidates, 19%. Could find trend following short candidates, 15% of stocks gave them, and not so many in terms of percentage of headwinds, percentage of box, percentage of bounce, etc. So where would I focus to quickly find short setups on Friday? I would focus on breakouts with reversal and flow short setups with reversal. And using Q Finder, it's very easy to do that kind of multi-dimensional analysis. So technical breadth is bearish, again is not oversold. So everything is pointing to bearish side. Interestingly, the last couple of tweets I shared, Now let me make a statement. I made it earlier also. I share ideas or trade setups in many places. I shared them on Twitter, handle Superior Profit. I shared them on my website superiorprofit.co in the traders forum under the category 360 degrees analysis. Anything I share, let me log in. Give me a second, please. There are so many passwords, how to remember all of them easily. This is the forum category 360 degrees trade ideas. I share ideas here regularly, always before knowing the result. Most of them are on the USA market, some of them maybe on the Indian market, but the technique is applicable in any country, any market on stock trading, mostly swing trades. And I do share them on Twitter also. Sharing on the forum takes much more time. So if I am making such an effort to share on the forum, you may know that I have found a proper trade setup. Or if I am looking at it, I would usually mention that I am looking at it. If I am not looking at it, I am mentioning that this stock has a trade setup, then that's a proper trade setup and I may as well be trading that. If I just share on Twitter, then sometimes it may happen that technically it has a setup, but fundamentals, industry strengths are not aligned. That is one thing you may keep in mind. And if you are following me on Twitter and on the forum, you would know that already. Now, why I said that? I said that because the last time I clearly stated I shorted QQQ at the top from then till this Friday. In between, I did share some possible breakout long trades, and I tweeted when I tweeted about this webinar that I'll explain how I looked at those stocks and if I traded them, how I managed them. And you will find interestingly, if we followed the Q techniques, you would come out with a profit or avoid making a loss in all the trades. Let's look at those instruments. Okay, let's look at them in Q Elite, because then I can look at the historical memory trend lines. One was on US oil. Remember again, I am looking at the few long ideas, bullish ideas I shared since the time I mentioned that I shorted QQQ right at the top. One was US oil. I mentioned US oil in the tweet here before it broke out of the trendline resistance, and I mentioned that you may watch out for a breakout long trade. And very next day I shared the tweet before the breakout, and then immediately after that it broke out with a gap up. If you were ready based on my tweet or based on your own analysis triggered by the tweet, you could take a long trade in US oil. If you used options, then you could probably still hold the trade. Or if you had reasonable profit, you could book profit or you could hold the position. This this instrument oil is not looking so weak, isn't it? Didn't fall down, didn't give any short setup, didn't make a lower low, still having a higher high after the breakout, still having higher low, has a trend line, not a bearish looking chart at all. So my sharing is working out even in this kind of weak market as of Friday's close. Another stock that I tweeted about, that was Zim, Zim Shipping, ZIM. I shared it on this day on Twitter saying that watch out for a long breakout. And Q guideline is always to wait for the breakout. Remember, these trend lines work beautifully. And here is the proof again. When did I talk about these trend lines being very beautiful, effective? When I explained how I shorted the market at the very top of the recent swings. And here I mentioned that we could keep an eye on Zim for a bullish breakout, but the breakout didn't happen. So we would not take a long trade, and that would help us a lot. Price dropped sharply. By the way, this drop on Friday, part of this 14% drop, maybe about 9 to 10% of this drop is due to dividend, ex-dividend date. So it's not that really the stock price went down by 14.6% on Friday, but it did still fall down. Following Q guidelines, we did not have a breakout trade, and we would not take a long trade, and in this case we would avoid making a loss. And now I'm going to share the third and only remaining long trade idea that I shared. Again, a possible breakout, and in this case the breakout happened just like in case of oil. By the way, I'll come back to look at the sectors, and you will see there is something interesting about energy sector. This is Baba, a Chinese stock. Of course, you all know that. Right on this day, I mentioned that watch out for the bullish breakout. In fact, the breakout was confirmed on this day, and I did take a long trade in Baba. I did take a long trade, and in this case, I shorted the put, naked short put. I booked profit in that short put quickly, and then I bought some stocks. On Friday, I was watching the market. In fact, I was watching the live presentation of the central bank head, because that live session was available on Metastock Zenith. So I was listening to the live session, and notice one thing. USA market was weak on Friday from the beginning, whereas Baba gapped up and then it came down, but still it closed with a bullish color candle. However, looking at the overall market weakness, I closed my long position in stocks in Baba as well. I had a very good profit. Now, if you look back, this was my breakout confirmed date. This was my stop just below this recent low. That would be the low, slightly below this low of this bullish shape candle. I had much more than risk covered already. So actually, half of the position I exited with a GTC order. The other half I was watching at the market. I was looking at what the Fed chair was saying and how the market was reacting. The remaining half position I exited somewhere in the middle of the candle. Half I always tend to put a GTC order when my reward covers the risk. So that is how I traded Baba. Very profitable trade. Now I want to mention that we have a way to look at PR stock. So when I shared Baba, I looked at its fundamentals. Let's look at its fundamental analysis. I did trade two more stocks, both happened to be in the China market, and I came across them from Q Vital PR analysis. Let's try to do a PR analysis of Baba. I'll also look at its fundamentals. Remember, the market was not very strong, but I did share a bullish idea, so there must be something more than just the technicals. All my trade ideas, if I'm sharing them on the forum, again, I just mentioned, if I'm sharing them on the forum, usually I'm sharing all angles. So I did share the fundamentals also, and indeed it is a value stock, so that allowed me to buy. It also had a short squeeze potential. Now, if you look at the peer stocks, it automatically retrieves the peer stocks in the leftmost column. One of the stocks was PDD. You can see it here, somewhere here. If you see my cursor, let's carry out a scorecard analysis of PDD. I did trade PDD also, again on the long side. In this case, it was a high growth stock. Once again, like Baba, it had a short squeeze potential. In this case, unlike Baba, funds are very bullish. I traded it, and let's look at the chart. PDD, Pinduoduo. Once again, it had a breakout long setup. I took the trade when the trade setup was confirmed. Half of the position was exited on Friday at the open with GTC order, and then I was watching the market, watching the Fed chair's comments, how the market was reacting. I closed the remaining half somewhere in the middle of the candle. Again, my risk was this distance. My reward was much more than the risk. Not only that, I traded one more Chinese stock, again found using peer analysis, that was JD. Let's look at its scorecard, and you will see how I am finding stocks that are fundamentally strong in a weak market, taking a calculated risk and then coming out with a profit. Also notice my ordering intentionally. JD's fundamentals are the strongest. As per Q scorecard, it is undervalued as well as having high earnings growth and accelerating earnings growth. Like the two other stocks, Baba and PDD, this also has a short squeeze potential. What is different from the other two stocks? It just recently announced earnings. And I was looking at the stock. I think an earnings was announced, I think, on this day. Let's look at it using the at a glance template. You will find something interesting. This was the day, if I am remembering correctly, earnings was announced. Initially, price tried to go down. Where did it go down to? To the trend line support. They work very well. I watched it and I saw the trend line held beautifully. In intraday, it tried to go down and sharply recovered. And today we saw three of the four market ETFs gave bearish reversal. On that day, I noticed that JD.com, JD.com is the name, JD is the ticker symbol, gave a bullish reversal. Bullish reversal at trendline support with a long lower tail, with a bullish flow shown by the tick, with a bullish indecision at the bottom shown by the yellow dot. Those were signals enough to take a long trade. Again, I took a long trade at that time. Once again, my GTC order on half position was triggered when it hit the upper boundary, and again the remaining position I closed myself, looking at the overall bearishness of the market. Now when you look at these three stocks, they are not looking bearish, but I exited because my market view changed to bearish view. But these three stocks I picked, I think, very well at a swing low point, and they are still holding on better than others. But I am a swing trader. Based on my market view, I close positions, especially when my risk distance is covered, as was in these cases. Now, if we look for short trades, there will probably be plenty of short trades. However, one comment I made when I looked at the market ETFs, that if one was thinking about shorting at the close on Friday, I would not encourage that, because stop would be very far. That may be true for individual stocks, may not be true, but when the market itself for all the ETFs has so long bearish candle, it may be possible that market will recover somewhat and we'll have a higher price to short. Of course, preferred trading direction remains short. Everything is looking bearish but not oversold yet. When I will start to think about buying again, that's very clear answer. When it comes to trendline support, we keep on seeing these supports and resistances, memory lines work very well. I could short right at the trendline resistance. Similarly, I look for buying at the next trendline support. They are zero lag indicators, unlike moving averages. Having said that, will I look for some short candidates? Let's do that. Let me use Finder. Remember when I looked at the Finder technical breadth, I explained any category with more than 10% stocks in it, it's easy to find trades from that category. We have that in reversal, we have that in breakout, we have that in flow. So we could look for breakout with reversal or flow with reversal. Let's look for breakout with reversal. This is how to do that. Go to the bearish signals, flag for the reversals, this column. Now I only have the stocks with bearish reversal. Next, flag for breakdown or breakout short. This column, flag for that also. So now I am left with, you can see here, 136 stocks. All of them are having bearish reversal, bearish breakout, and I see 21 of them have bearish pressure. That's a large enough number. So let me flag for pressure also. 21 of them have bearish pressure, and 2 of them have bearish flow. One of them has bearish headwind. So I could look at these 3 first. Let's look at the bearish headwind, come breakdown, come bearish reversal stock first. That is GLBE, and we can see even before opening the chart that it dropped by 9% plus on Friday. That ties with my comment that it may be giving a setup where the stop is a bit far away than my liking. Having said that, let's look at the stock. Metastock latest version has this beautiful, I think the best in class way of expanding the chart to see it clearly, and it indeed has a trendline breakdown with a bearish headwind reversal signal. That's a very unique signal that comes right at the top for bearish reversal, and it is reversing from watermark resistance with a bear release signal with bearish pressure. So that means we also are meeting the conditions for a box short setup. And if I go back to Finder, let's check that is true or not. This indeed has signaled a box short setup, headwind short setup, and a breakout short setup. We can see the total number of signals, sorry, here total number of signals 5, bearish side, total number of trade setups. We could use these buttons to sort by those statistics. So in any case, this is looking very bearish. It has 3 different kinds of short setups on the same day, GLBE. technical setup. I am not looking at the fundamentals industry strength. You may look at that. Let's look at the two more stocks that are giving breakout with pressure with bearish reversal and also has bearish flow. And again, they also dropped by 8.5 to 7%. So stop may be a bit far away. Let's look at them. Usually I close the old charts before opening, but no problem. In fact, let me do that. Close charts and open them again by clicking the chart icon. Easy to use, isn't it? Expand the chart. Very clear breakdown setup with a bearish flow and a possible flow short setup. Big move down 3. Extreme bearish momentum and a reversal. Of course, we looked for reversal candles, reversals and breakdowns with bearish flow. Everything is here. This is also looking very bearish. Ollie's bargain, the ticker is OLLI. Stop is a bit far away, but it's looking bearish. If I wanted to look at its weekly daily, let's do that at least for this stock. Some of the trade setups don't need me to look at the daily, weekly both, just daily is enough. Breakdown is one such setup, but looking at the weekly is useful because now I can see on the weekly chart also I have a trend line breakdown and weekly backdrop is bearish, shape is bearish, creating higher, sorry, not higher, lower high. So everything is bearish enough in weekly to short. Daily is also allowing me to short. So Ollie's bargain is a short. The other stock was Wix. Here it's not such a nice short setup because yes, it did break down. That's what we searched for in Finder. It has a reversal candle. That's what we searched for. It has a bearish pressure. That's why we search for. It has a bearish flow. Everything is true, but there is another trend line support nearby. So I will be not willing to short Wix. I will be happy to short the other two stocks. Those were, if I go back to Finder, GLBE and OLLI. Of course, there are many other short candidates. The stop may be a bit far away, and of course, before shorting, I'll try to find candidates where fundamentals are also weak, either in terms of valuation or in terms of growth, and in a relatively weak industry. In this market, I'm pretty sure you will find plenty of such opportunities. Once again, I shared this analysis live, follow up in subsequent webinars to show how they can help us protect capital, like in case of ZIM. We would not take a long trade that would protect our capital, and how we could profit. Even in a relatively weak market, we could buy BABA, and I did buy BABA. Not only that, I bought JD and PDD in the same industry group. I profited from them, and now of course the view is bearish, and I mentioned I am not holding any long position in the USA market right now. We are at 1 hour point. Let's end today's session here. Thanks a lot for attending. I look forward to seeing you in my next session next week. Market roundup. Have a great weekend, and as these analysis show, there is no reason not to do that. Trade profit.